Today I'm showing you how to make this sweet keto pumpkin lasagna. Let's get started.
And this is one of the cups that comes with it. What I have in, I need the blade, forgot the blade. Here's the blade that I'll be using with my mini blender. So what I have here is one of the smallest cup that comes with it, because this really isn't a lot of batter to make this noodles for the lasagna. What I have in here is 2 large eggs. I have 1 ounce of regular cream cheese, and I have a pinch of salt, okay? So since this is gonna be a sweet pumpkin lasagna, we're gonna make the noodles sweet. Where normally to make my low carb lasagna, which is savory, I just make the basic, I use this basic ingredients, but I add some garlic powder, oregano, Italian spices, and salt, and I make it, of course, savory for the savory lasagna. So we're gonna just change it up a little bit. And I'm going to be adding some sweetener. I'm going to sweeten this batter for the noodles. This is just powdered erythritol. You can use Swerve if you have it, the powdered kind, or even the granulated one would work, or any sweetener of your choice. Okay, so I usually put it in here and blend it and make it powder. And that's what I have in here. This is just 1 tablespoon. I'm also going to use a little bit of stevia. You guys know I like to use the combination of liquid stevia and erythritol. So this is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 12 to 14 drops of liquid stevia. I'm also going to add a little bit of vanilla, just a pinch. And if you heard that, that's my oven that I have preheated to 325 degrees. So that's the first thing you're gonna wanna do. I'm only gonna add a little pinch of vanilla. My vanilla is very, very strong. It's more like a vanilla paste. So I just added, I don't know, maybe about a 1/4 teaspoon of that. And I had a pinch of salt in there. The other ingredient that we're gonna need is xanthan gum, okay? I've tried at the beginning making this recipe without xanthan gum. The noodles just don't stay together. The consistency of an actual pasta noodle is what you're looking for, and this is what's gonna give it to you, okay? So you gotta have xanthan gum. I buy this brand, I get it online. I think they have it at Trader Joe's or other places too, or like health stores, but you can get it on Amazon too, or any xanthan gum that you wanna use. And you're really only gonna use a 1/4 teaspoon of the xanthan gum and just add it in there. Okay, so we have everything that we're gonna need, pretty simple, right? We're gonna twist this on, and then we're going to just blend it. Let me turn on my blender. And I'm just gonna, I'm gonna pulse it. So let me show you guys, this is the consistency that I have. Everything is already blended. It's almost like a pancake batter. So it's really, really pretty thick, okay? Almost like a little bit of gelatiny, if that's a word. And that's because of the xanthan gum. I did have to end up adding about a tablespoon of water, just room temperature water, because I thought it was just a little bit too thick. So I could probably just even add a little bit more. But yeah, about a tablespoon. But you see that it's really thick. It has to be thick, but it has to be in a way where you can actually spread it, because we are gonna spread it on a baking sheet right now. Okay, so let me show you what we're gonna do next. It smells really delicious, okay? All right, let's put all this aside. And let me show you what I have here. Okay, so I have this pan. It's a 9 by 12, okay, baking sheet. I have this mat, which is a silicone mat, and even though silicone mat is non-stick, this is known to stick. So I sprayed it with some non-stick cooking spray, whichever one you have. If you don't have this silk mat, you can use parchment paper, but I would recommend also spraying the parchment paper that you're gonna use, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just, I know this doesn't seem like a lot, but we're gonna spread it. And I'm just doing this because you're gonna see how it all is gonna be in here. I should really be using a spatula of some sort. That's okay, we'll get it out. Okay, so get out all of your batter. And just kind of spread it. I'm using this spoon, you guys. It's no big deal, but you probably want to use a spatula. So I'm trying to get it into a specific shape, because usually, you know, when you have when you do lasagna, it's usually round, square or rectangular. So I just want to spread this evenly, as even as possible in a rectangle. I'll probably just do this to kind of help it go over. It's not going to spread, you know, like liquidy, because again, it is a thick, almost gelatinous consistency, and that's what you want. It looks weird, I know, but it'll work, trust me. So you're looking for it to be as even as possible, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. And then what we're gonna do is once you see that you have it as even as possible, as even thickness as possible, you're going to, in your preheated 325-degree oven, you're gonna bake this for about 8 minutes, 6 to 8 minutes. It really is not gonna take long for this to bake. So you wanna keep an eye on it. Everyone's oven is different, so I don't know. You wanna, just really maybe at like a 5-minute mark, check on it and make sure it's burning for you. So as you can see, you can even like mess with it like this, just to make it as flat as possible. So I'm happy with this shape. It's not a big deal if it's not perfect. So let's put it in the oven, and I'll tell you what you're looking for, what it has to look like in order for it to be done. Okay, you guys, so my noodles, my lasagna base noodles were in the oven for about 8 minutes. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of shiny on top, and it almost, I am going to use my favorite sweetener of this kind, which is this lakanto. I have a tablespoon. And the sweetness is always going to be to taste, you guys. So you're going to want to taste this after you put in your sweetener, because everybody's sweet tooth is different. I also, of course, want to add a little bit of liquid stevia. I'm almost out, but don't worry, I have another bottle. So this is about 10 drops or so, maybe a little bit more, okay? I need to get a pinch of salt. Always add a pinch of salt to your sweet stuff, okay? So I have that. I'm also going to be using this pumpkin pie spice. You can use a combination of cinnamon, cloves, ginger. I just like to get the regular, just pumpkin pie spice mix. This is also to taste. You either love pumpkin pie spice or you're just not sure how much you want. Oh, this doesn't fit. I'll use the 1/4 teaspoon here. And so I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon. Oops, that's more than a half. All right, maybe a little bit more than a 1/2 teaspoon. So you guys use as much as you want of this pumpkin pie spice. I'm going to use a little bit of vanilla. So I don't usually measure my vanilla. And then I'm going to add my pumpkin. This is just pumpkin puree. And I'm going to use about 1/3 cup. And there's carbs in pumpkin, you guys. And make sure you get the pumpkin puree that's just the puree, okay? Nothing that has sugar in it. So we're just going to mix all this up. And this is going to be our filling for our pumpkin lasagna. Oh my God, this smells amazing. This reminds me of those pumpkin muffins that I've seen on YouTube that have the cream cheese filling. Oh my Lord. Okay, so we can put this in the fridge in the meantime, okay, as our noodles are cooling. And then this is the second part of this sweet pumpkin lasagna, and there's a third part which you're gonna want to stay. When I used my pizza cutter to make 12 squares. Some of them are a little bit bigger, some of them are smaller, or 12 rectangles. So I have these kind of ramekins shaped, and I'm going to use these to build the sweet lasagna, pumpkin lasagna. There's 4 of them, so we're going to have 4 servings. So here's the third part of this recipe. We have our filling here that we made earlier. What I have here in this container is about 1/2 cup of heavy cream, and there's a little bit of vanilla. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 large egg, just whipping it up a little bit. And this is going to be like our sauce, our sweet sauce. It's going to go with this recipe. So just mix everything in. I want to go ahead and sweeten it a little bit, so I'm going to use my powdered erythritol, and it's going to be about 1 tablespoon. So far in this recipe, we're only using 3 tablespoons in total of sweetener, which is great. And we're getting 4 servings. And of course, I'm probably going to be using the last of my liquid stevia here. Okay. Yeah, there's only a tiny bit left, and I can't get with the dropper, so I'm just going to put them in there. So just mix everything. And this is going to be thick because, of course, it's heavy whipping cream. It's heavy cream and it's an egg. If you don't have cream or you don't want to use whipping cream, you can also use coconut cream. It's just going to give it a different taste. So it's all mixed up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start building these. And I had this filling in the fridge, so you can see that it's gotten a little bit thicker. we are going to actually build these and bake them in the oven, okay? So just like a lasagna, when you build it, a regular lasagna, you put it in the oven and you bake it so that the cheese melts and everything comes together. Well, there's no cheese here, but we are going to still use the same method. So I'm gonna start out with a little bit of cream on the bottom. And since this container is a little bit smaller on the bottom, I'm going to start with one layer of my noodle. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of my filling. And the cream is gonna thicken up in the oven. Okay, so no worries there. Let's go in with another layer. It's gonna be 3 layers in total. More of that pumpkin filling. This looks really, really good. Okay, and then we're gonna go in with the 3rd layer. Put a little bit more of this pumpkin filling on top. And if you wanted to make more layers or just, you know, make more servings, you can double the amount of the recipe and just make more. Or if you wanted to make like a dish, lasagna dish, instead of individual servings, you can do that. Like a casserole, kind of, like an actual family size or family style lasagna. Okay, so I finished layering all 4 of them, and what I did was I used the cream mixture and I poured some over the top of each one because just like when we make the lasagna, the noodles, we don't want the noodles to over dry, and we want to make sure that they stay moist and delicious. So that's why I'm using the cream mixture on top, and also of course for flavor and richness. It's going to be a very rich dessert. I also sprinkled them on top with some pumpkin pie spice. And now I'm gonna, on the same pan, I'm gonna bake them at 350 degrees. My oven is already preheated. And I'm gonna bake them for about 20 minutes, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done.
Don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you like my video, and please click that notification bell so that you don't miss